Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name's Tom. I own a small automotive repair shop and a small used car lot on the same property here in Fate, Texas. One of the questions I get asked a lot, and I hear comments back from my customers, is what do you do about a bad Google review? It seems like nowadays the customer's weapon of choice, if they feel cheated, is to go to review on Google and bash the business. Not all of them do, but it certainly is something that happens. Where I get frustrated with that is if you didn't even know there was a problem and they just hit you with a bad review. How do you respond to that? If you did really F things up and they hit you with a bad review, how do you respond to that? When I come back, we'll talk about some of the ways that I deal with this in my business. Hopefully it's some of the things that you're doing, and it will help you mediate some of those negative Google reviews. So I think the biggest thing about the Google review that just kind of sends me over the edge with consumers is when the first time I heard there was a problem is when I got your negative Google review about my business. I think that sort of speaks to the keyboard warrior mentality that is prevalent in our society these days. People will say to you in a text or a chat or in some sort of public forum things that they would never say to your face. I think that is just the way things are going. I think we've lost a certain amount of social skills based on all the computer and internet interaction that we do these days. So I've had a couple of those where we provided bad service or this or that was a problem and, lousy, 1 star, never do business again, blah, blah, blah. So the first thing I do when I see that type of review is I go to their other reviews and see what kind of reviews they give. Statistics have borne out that people are about 5 times more likely to leave you a negative review than they are a positive one. So if you're a reviewer that's got 15 reviews and 12 of them were negative, tells me a lot of it is probably with the customer's personality. So I don't know if you caught that before I cut the clip. The phone actually rang at the shop, which is Murphy's Law. I could sit here by myself all day long, the phone never rings. We decide to film or do something else, the phone rings. But anyway, back to the reviewer that is never let you know about it and has given you a negative review. One, I answer every single review. Doesn't matter if it's a good one or a bad one. If it's a good one, it's simple. Thanks for your kind words. We look forward to doing business with you again. It was a pleasure, etc. When it's a negative review, I answer it. It's something like this. My first comment would be, gosh, I'm sorry you're dissatisfied. This is the first I am hearing about it. If you'd like to give me a call and I'll put the phone number so there's no excuse, I would be happy to help you resolve this issue. What happens most of the time is nothing. They don't call, they don't want the issue resolved, they wanted to bitch. And by you putting on that negative review that you're sorry, which you are, you don't want any negative reviews, you're willing to work on it to fix it, which is all anybody wants, and call you, i.e. they need to initiate, and we'll find a resolution. Okay, so the person that's reading the reviews later sees that you're willing to work on it. They see that you were never informed ahead of time that there was a problem. And then that will lead them to sort of take that negative review in stride compared to your 20 or 30 or whatever positive ones. They can kind of discount that review to a certain extent that perhaps that negative reviewer is kind of a douchebag. Time and time again, when people call, they mention that we had good reviews, this and that. I always say, we try, but we have a few negative ones out there. And people always say, well, I read those, I saw that you responded to them, these things happen, or it sounded like this guy was a douchebag, or whatever it was. So that does help. And, A negative review or two is going to happen. You never want them, but it is not the end of the world. So that's how I deal with the guy that you never knew there was a problem. You just got MF'd on the internet with your 1-star review, and that's how I try to overcome that type of a review. So the other type of the review that I get very rarely is this is a terrible shop, it was back 4 times, and this happened, and that happened, and it was terrible. I answer those too. And I always answer them factually and honestly. And a lot of times what that means is my opening line on that response is, so-and-so is right. We delivered a very poor experience. Here's what happened on our end, and I'm sorry that we couldn't make it better. Because again, people in general will accept seeing a negative review. They will accept seeing that you're not perfect. Most people are looking at your overall Google review number, and they are reading what responses you gave your negative ones. So if you've put down there, yes, he is right. This is what happened. This is how I tried to solve the problem. I had one a while back that was, it was the worst experience ever, blah, blah, blah. And I just put down, this is what happened step by step by step. This is what I did to solve it. Yes, it was a poor customer experience. Yes, this customer has every right to be angry. And I ate this much of the bill in an effort to accommodate. And you move on. That's the bottom line. So if there's one takeaway on Google reviews is one, it is a guide. It's not the Bible. Yes, you want good Google reviews. The yellow pages, they're over with now. Now everybody goes to Google or Bing, and Google probably has 95% of the market. So anytime you can get a good Google review, do. If you're in the business where you capture customer phone numbers or email addresses, send them a link to give you a Google review. Just saying, hey, if you would take a second to tell other members of the community about your experience with our business, we'd sincerely appreciate it. Send them that little link to your Google review, because obviously the more positive ones you get, the more it helps sort of lessen the blow of the bad ones. My next tip is every review that you receive, send a response. Don't just ignore a negative review. Be truthful. No business is perfect. Admit that you're not perfect. Tell the customers what you tried to do to resolve the issue. That's all anybody wants to know. So just do that, and it will help. That is my 2 or 3 good tips for Google reviews. It's how we deal with it. We don't want any negative ones, but there's going to be negative ones sometimes. Give every customer the response they deserve, and your business will be just fine. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this to be helpful. I have plenty of other videos, more about my car lot forms, buying and selling cars, some behind the scenes stuff. If you have any questions or comments, leave me a link down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And of course, a like and subscribe would definitely be appreciated. Thanks, y'all. Have a good day.